The Weed Porn Daily podcast is brought to you by the Weed Porn Daily Stoner Shop. Clothing for cannabis connoisseurs. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, we've even got laptop skins, iPhone cases, pillows, plenty of stuff for every type of pothead. We just got some new designs in. I just added, I think, 3 new designs since the last podcast. A take on I can't believe it's not butter, but instead it's I can't believe it's not legalized. And then there was like a white cannabis leaf print design. It came out really, really nice. I kind of pitch it as the modern marijuana design for the sophisticated stoner. You know, it's very elegant. And there's one other design that I just put up. I'm the one who designs these, and I'm forgetting. It's another cannabis print one, but the leaves are so detailed it almost looks like a photograph or like a book illustration. Looks very nice, and I've got the leaves laid out in a kind of crisscrossy pattern. Looks very nice. Shop.WeedPornDaily.com is where you can find all of our goods and our merch. Like I said, you can get a pillow with like nugs printed on it. Just frosty, fruity looking nugs with like orange hairs erupting from it, and you can just bury your face in buds. Like how many other stores offer you pillows with pot on them? How many other stores do you know have cannabis print tees or just weed anything? Yeah. Shop.WeedPornDaily.com, and we've got fucking sick ass cases too. Let me tell you, if you've got a iPhone, I think 3 to 5. Is there a 5 out yet? I don't even know. I don't own an iPhone, but like up to the latest iPhone, we have cases, and we also have Galaxy S3 cases, I believe, and I think it's 3. I'm pretty sure it's 3. It's like not the newest one, but the one that's still pretty new. That one. We got cases. Check it out. Shop.WeedPornDaily.com. It's like the longest ad ever for the shop, eh? If you want to sponsor us, head over to advertise.WeedPornDaily.com or WeedPornDaily.com/advertise. I'm not sure if I have that subdomain set up. But there you can contact us with any proposals you might have for just if you want to put ads on the site, like image or textual ads, if you want to create like a partnership with us and distribute your products to our fan base. We've got a very large fan base of super stoners who are just eager to buy stuff, eager to invest in new cannabis innovations. So if you've got new products that you want to get out there, we can distribute that for you. Yeah, just everything you need to know. WeedPornDaily.com/advertise. Hit us up and we'll work with you. Big shout out to printfirm.com. We got some prints done this month. WeedPornDaily.com stickers coming soon. I posted up a review on the website as well as shots of the stickers. Prints came out pretty fucking fresh. So thanks again to printfirm.com. Alright guys, I think that's about it. I'm about to hit the 420 mark on this. Perfect time to start the podcast. Hope you got your bowls packed, your hash nails heated. I hope you got your emails plugged in and properly dialed into your preferred settings. Hope you've got your blunts rolled and the leaves are properly dried out now from all that saliva it took to saturate them. I'm smoking on a bowl of mango peach, a sativa dominant creeper that's very fruity, very tasty, very dank. Cheers. excellent hit. Recording it on WeedPornDaily TV, actually. You'll probably see the episode very delayed, as the content schedule is usually packed. But welcome to the WeedPornDaily podcast. I am Grouch, the editor, owner, designer, the asshole behind the ass box. If you want to check out WeedPornDaily, how could you not want to? WeedPornDaily.com. Follow us on Twitter, @WeedPornDaily. Follow us on Vine, WeedPornDaily as well. And let me throw a curveball at you. Follow us on Instagram, Ganja Grouch. Yeah. And I think follow us on YouTube, subscribe, whatever. So many social networks, Facebook, Tumblr. Yeah, check us out. Woo, that strain is very nice. Doesn't hit you immediately, but creeps up on you within 10 to 15 minutes. But within the first 2 minutes, you kind of feel a slight tingle on you already. Got lots of good news in the world of weed. I think we should jump right into that. Puerto Rico will debate medical marijuana use. This comes to us from the Huffington Post. Legislators in Puerto Rico are preparing to debate a bill that would allow people to use marijuana for medicinal purposes in this conservative U.S. territory, officials said Thursday. The measure would create a system to legally produce the substance and allow state health officials to regulate it, said Representative Jose Baz, one of the bill's two authors. It calls for a classification of medical conditions and requirements that would allow patients to smoke marijuana in their homes. Conditions would range from cancer to glaucoma to anxiety. This is very good news. This comes to us right on the heels of the DOJ office coming out and saying that they would stop or that they would not be prosecuting any organization that operates within state law, any medical marijuana organization. So it's nice. It was kind of a green light for all dispensaries to open up and pay their bills and stay within the lines and know that they wouldn't be raided. We've had a number of raids in Washington, in California, and even Colorado. Just hundreds and hundreds of raids from the federal government, all claim to be, all the dispensaries were operating not under state law, that they weren't paying bills, that they weren't, that they were doing other illegal activities, that they were operating as a front for another drug operation, that they were too close to a school or a place with children. All those factors apparently were, all those dispensaries fell under that. And, there are some people out there saying that the Department of Justice, that the feds, that the DEA, that they haven't been attacking legal dispensaries this whole time, that this news isn't news at all, and that this announcement is simply a reiteration of their methods, their proposal, or whatever. I don't know. It's it steps into a kind of conspiracy theory territory, whether or not, like, what is going on in the minds of these high-level representatives. But we had dispensaries like Harborside, like Berkeley Patient Group, I believe is the name, BPG, something like that. We've had huge dispensaries that were well within state law. They had open books for anyone to see, and the feds wanted to rain hell on them, raid them rather. We actually had after the Holder news, we had the Attorney General for California come out, Melissa Haag. I believe her name is, and Haig, I heard some people saying. She came out and she said that she, didn't know. She wasn't gonna, like. How did they worded it very carefully. It was like she heard what the DOJ said, but she has to review it to, like, it was one of those things like, yeah, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm gonna keep doing my own thing. I might change. It was a very interesting statement by Hogg, and Hogg is responsible, I believe, for actually raiding Harborside Health Center. Harborside. Let me look that up and confirm. Yep. She was the one who tried to really attack Harborside, and Oakland, the actual city, had to countersue. It was very interesting. So the city actually stood up for the dispensary. Yeah. So that was a long tangent. My point is Puerto Rico is thinking about legalizing marijuana. This was all due to the announcement recently that was made by the DOJ saying that they weren't going to prosecute anyone who followed state medical marijuana laws. Anyone within the law, they're cool with the feds. So this has sparked up a number of legalization measures all across the U.S. It was kind of like a green light for ganja legalization. And it's like, was it really? A lot of people are looking at it and really sitting and saying, let's wait until the next raid, and then we can analyze that and say, were they a legal dispensary? Did they really deserve to be cracked down upon? So there are a lot of paranoid, rightfully so, people in the community. But really, it's good news. It's good news. Look at Puerto Rico. They're talking about medical marijuana legalization. This wouldn't have happened without all these announcements and all this progressive movement forward. Following along with that, we've got the next 10 states to legalize marijuana. This comes to us from the MPP. They will actually be the people backing the legalization measures, I think, that you're going to see here. The Marijuana Policy Project will work with local and national allies to pass voter initiatives in at least 5 states and bills in 5 state legislatures to end marijuana prohibition and replace it with systems in which marijuana is regulated and taxed like alcohol. The MPP is currently supporting a petition drive led by Alaska activists to place an initiative on the August 2014 ballot. And it will work to pass initiatives in Arizona, California, Maine, and Nevada in the 2016 election. The organization is participating in lobbying and grassroots organizing efforts to pass bills in the Hawaii, Maryland, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont state legislatures by 2017. The MPP has been responsible for changing most state-level marijuana laws since 2000, and it has been the largest backer of the successful 2012 initiative to regulate marijuana like alcohol in Colorado. And like I just mentioned earlier, the Justice Department announced on August 29th that it would allow Colorado and Washington to move forward with the implementation of voter-approved laws establishing state-regulated systems of marijuana cultivation and retail sales. So, basically, Arizona, California, Maine, and Nevada look forward to legalization measures in the 2016 election. I've been seeing a lot of news about this. There was actually a recent movement that tried to kick up a legalization movement in California. And while they were trying to accrue, people for the initiative on Reddit, they were just receiving a onslaught of people informing them that, campaigning off election wasn't going to garner as much votes necessarily as campaigning during election time. So it'd be more feasible, more, a better worth of your time and money just to wait until the 2016 election to campaign, or campaign for that, not this more recent one. So yeah, 2016. Maybe 4 more states with new legalization bills. That'd be awesome. We could say that. What is that? That's fucking 6 states out of 50. That's still not enough. 6 states out of 50 with legalized marijuana. That would still be enough, though. That's like Arizona, California, and Colorado would be like the West Coast, and Nevada, and then Maine all the way out there in the East Coast. I don't know about that one. You never know, though. But that would be sick. We'd have a green coast. And then it'd be interesting to see, that's one of the things that people have been discussing as well, is whether or not the states will prosecute interstate travel between legal states now. If state law allows you to trade medical marijuana with another medical marijuana state, would the feds be okay with that? Because it is still interstate travel. It does fall under their regulations. Yeah, but good news. And Hawaii, Maryland, and New Hampshire, apparently, and Rhode Island and Vermont. Hawaii, I could kind of see, because you'd be surprised to know that they have medical marijuana over there. You already know it as this vacation spot, this like sweet spot, and then you find out that they're good with the green over there. Man, what's up? Maryland would it be interesting, as well as New Hampshire, and Rhode Island and Vermont. I'm not too savvy on the New England states. I don't even know what the New England states are comprised of. I just assume they're all in that corner, that New York corridor. Yeah. News from Colorado, or what? Yeah, Colorado. I was on the wrong tab. This comes to us from Slog, thestranger.com. Pot production capped at 1.4 million ounces. Actually, this was, from Washington. I'm sorry, not Colorado. The Washington State Liquor Control Board just announced final rules for the legal pot industry in our state. Here are some details. Pot shop limit. Washington state smokers will be able to purchase their cannabis from up to 334 stores statewide. These will be divided up per county and per city. Seattle will be allowed 21 legal pot stores, a far cry from the 100-plus medical dispensaries supported by city residents. Can you imagine? That's been one of the big things in California that people, or anywhere really with medical marijuana, is people critique, the number of establishments that pop up for cannabis. And it's like, dude, the demand is there, so the stores rise. Why would there be stores if no one's buying the weed? It may surprise you that there's more dispensaries than Starbucks, but there are probably more people that smoke weed that drink coffee. Sorry to say, guys, it's a scary thought, isn't it? More pot smokers than coffee drinkers or anything like that. You thought they had like a fucking army with the Starbucks. We got dispensaries, but only 21 stores. That'll be really interesting to see how that works out, especially for the big cities. They've got this huge population to basically divert into these 21 stores. Are they going to be 21 giant mega marts? We'll see. Pot production limit. The state has set a maximum annual pot production limit of 40 tons. That's a bit more than the 1.4 million ounces of pot. That's a bit more than 1.4 million ounces of pot. I feel like I said that differently. That's around 4 ounces of pot a year per Hempfest attendee. That's interesting. I wish they would say how many Hempfest people there were. I guess you could do the math yourself. But 40 tons, man. I don't know. It's interesting how they set a cap. You know, they wanted to set the cap so that there wouldn't be an excess of production leading to interstate trafficking and it going out to non-legalized states or just really anywhere other than Washington. But really the limitation will just be a limitation on the amount of money they can make, because I guarantee that any amount that they make, they will sell. There's no way that they could set up a system right now that could set up a surplus of pot for the community. I highly doubt that. Yeah. Gross size limit. Cannabis production facilities will be limited to 30,000 square feet. The state will issue licenses for 3 tiers of grows. Under 2,000 square feet, 2,000 to 10,000 square feet, and 10,000 to 30,000 square feet. The maximum amount of pot grow floor space in the state will be capped at 2 million square feet. So basically, they'll have 2 million square feet of grow space, growing up to a maximum of 40 tons, supplying that to a maximum of 334 stores. That's what we're looking at here. Those are the numbers. Alright? And then within that 2 million square feet, you'll have a breakup of like the large scale grows, the mid scale grows, and the small scale grows. And it'll just be a jumble of those. Hopefully more of the, well, not to say hopefully. It'll bring about a balance, hopefully. Better buffer measurements. The best news by far, in my opinion, is that the Liquor Control Board has decided that the 1,000-foot setbacks required around schools, parks, and other facilities will be measured by common path of travel, not as the crow flies. That means that if a location... This means that a location across the freeway from a school won't be banned unless a school kid can legally walk 1,000 feet and reach the pot shop. What was happening in a lot of these states is that, you'll have a dispensary, in X spot and a school in, Y. And they'll just pump the two addresses into Google Maps and draw a line between the two and measure that distance. And that will be the distance as the crow flies. It's one of those, like, fucking legal mumbo-jumbo words that they have to make up. But now, they'll have to take one of those fucking, like, walking things and walk from the dispensary and measure each foot walking to the nearest school or library or whatever, which, is much, much better. It accounts for, the freeway, as they said. It accounts for just everything, man. And that was a really good move. But yeah, Washington. Now you guys get a picture of it, because I know that's one of the most common questions now with the legalization in Colorado and Washington. It's, can I go there and just buy pot? What's the situation? And this is the situation. Now you know that there's only going to be 334 stores in the whole state. And Seattle will only have 21 of those. There's only going to be 40 tons to go between everybody in the state and everybody who's going to be rushing in and trying to buy some legal pot. Now that's 40 tons on top of the already medical marijuana industry, which I'm sure is producing more than 40 tons. And then you've probably got like an illegal industry under that producing pot as well. So we don't really have to worry about running out necessarily, but you guys know if you guys want to buy pot from the stores, it will probably either go fast or be expensive. One of the two or both. Yeah. And this was interesting news as well. More good news. This comes to us from the Seattle PI. State system to start with mature plants could put marijuana in stores much sooner. I'm not actually going to read it. Basically, the control board came out and said, we're cool with you bringing in mature plants that aren't flowering yet. So you'll have these grow houses. You can fill them up completely with buds that are just fully vegetated, fully trained, just ready to just flower at any minute, and that cuts down the grow time significantly. If otherwise they would have to start on January 1st, 2014, plant a seed or start from a clone, and that would take a significant amount of time compared to if they could vegetate it before. They're basically getting a head start now, basically, which is really nice. We'll get probably pot by, they were saying, I think June is when the plant will be finally mature and harvested and cured and all that. So the stores will open up on January 1st, but they won't actually have any product until months later. But months sooner, thankfully. Yeah. Then it's interesting too. You can bring in vegetative plants and use them to take cuts. Let me see. No flowering marijuana plants may be brought into the facility during the 15-day time frame. After the 15-day time frame expires, a producer may only start plants from seed or clones, or create clones from a marijuana plant. Yeah. So basically, if you don't get a head start, you have to do it the way I described earlier, where you have to plant a seed or you have to take a clone. And you can only use a clone from your fucking facility, so I think, right? Is that what it said? What? Did I just put words in my own mouth? Yep. You have to create the clone from a plant licensed on the licensed premises. So yeah, that's gonna be really interesting. That's gonna be I hope everybody has the money and the time and everything and everything's set up to really get a head start on the system, because it'll really suck if you're sitting there on January 1st and you're just planting your seeds. That'd be fucking lame. And the last of the news, not really news, just an article I posted. There's a list going around, it's been around for years. It's a giant list of medical marijuana science resources, like references. And it was accrued by this chick named Granny Crow or something like that. But the list is just so huge that it's distributed in a zip file, and the list is actually in a PDF form. Honestly, it's fucking retarded. They say like, oh, the list is so huge, you can't compress it any way to distribute it other than this. And as a guy who hasn't gone to college for any type of like computer sciences, I can tell you that I can compress it in like 5 minutes way better than they do. It's like a 17 megabyte file now, zipped. I could bring that down to like a megabyte. Like, get the fuck out of here. But that's besides the point. I don't want to toot my own horn. But I want to explain that I use that list. The list is broken down into like all the different conditions. You have like, IBS, you have cancer, you have glaucoma, like any condition that's ever been shown that cannabis has a beneficial effect, or any effect, negative too. She posts a link to it. So I wanted to go through each ailment, each like section, and take her list and put it on the web so it's actually available and not some elusive fucking zip file that people have to download and then extract and find PDF files, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's just a fucking website. You can go to my site, look at it, and the list is here. It's easy to click, whatever. So I take her list, and I also do research of my own into the illness or ailment or, just a subject, and find sources of myself, like more recent sources I've posted on the website before that I remember, things like that. So this particular time, that was a long fucking preamble. This is science involving cannabis's effects on pregnancy. So if I get it all the time. I get it in the ask box all the time. What do you think about smoking while pregnant? What are the effects of smoking while pregnant? Will it hurt my baby? Like, I get it from everybody. So I wanted to release this article and just give you guys all the information there is out there, because to tell you the truth, there is no concise answer on whether or not you should use cannabis when you're pregnant. There's no doctor that's going to come out and say, yeah, you should use it, or no, you shouldn't. Well, actually, they're probably all going to come out and say no, rather. That's a safe choice. But there are a few doctors that'll come out and say yes. It's not something that's commonly known or just really like studied firmly enough to know. So really just look over all the information. There's at least 50 to 100 links here to go through. Just studies of like gynecological things and rats and all that good stuff. So if you're interested, you're worried, you want to know, it lets you know if you should like pregnancy and post-pregnancy. It's like prenatal and postnatal. Those are the words I was looking for. Because there are some studies I posted about pregnant milk containing cannabinoids and things like that. So yeah, I think there's a book out or something. I remember somebody mentioning there might be a book out there on this. I haven't come across it, but there's a lot of research to do in this field. If you're a pregnant woman and you want to compile like the information that you gather from all of these scientific studies, feel free. I will post that article. Fuck, I'll publish it. Shit. But yeah, it was interesting. I posted this. You can find all of this, by the way, by going to, I didn't even say that earlier. You can find all of this by going to WeedPornDaily.com and hitting the news button up top. But I posted this, and I got a lot of messages in the ask box from people who I guess felt it's like a thing like you say something, and automatically the ego assumes that you're attacking it, So I post this article about cannabis's effects on pregnancy. I don't make any claims. I don't say anything positive or negative. I simply post links and information. And I get people like, yeah, my mom smoked weed her whole life, and I'm a straight-A student. I think I'm pretty well off. Or, yeah, I had an aunt who smoked. Yeah, it's back to that whole anecdotal shit. I just got a whole bunch of that. And it was just people with anecdotal evidence to throw at me. And like emotional responses to this that they had to throw at me. It was very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I link to Granny Storm Crow. That's her name. I don't mean to mock her. But Granny Storm Crow's Master MMJ list. I link it in the article as well, if you're interested in sorting through those PDFs yourself. But if you wait like a year, I'll probably end up publishing each section out as a page. I've currently, if you guys want to check it out, I did one for cancer previously. It's on WeedPornDaily.com, and if you hover over the FAQ on top, it's the link that's Cannabis Curing Cancer Sources. And that's it for the news. There was like other news, but that was like the juicy stuff. If you guys want to check out the rest of the news, just check out the news tag, blog.weedporndaily.com/tag/news. Or you can just hit the news button up top. Alright, I wanted to do one more, infotainment thing, I guess. I answered a question today about Cannabis Hyperemesis Syndrome. And it's something that I've noticed in the cannabis community in the past couple months. And, this was the first time that I'd been prompted about it. So I kind of broke it down and gave my in-depth opinion. If you want to check it out, you can go to blog.weedporndaily.com/tagged/WPD FAQ, all one word. That's where I put all the answered long questions. But basically, Cannabis Hyperemesis Syndrome, if you don't know, is a supposed syndrome where people who smoke cannabis, usually they're chronic smokers, people who have been doing it for years, and people who do it every day. They'll get this condition where they start, every time they smoke, or every time they're high, they get a feeling of abdominal pain, and they throw up, almost to the point of dehydration in some cases. And the only way to alleviate these symptoms is to take a hot shower or a hot bath. Again, if you want a more in-depth look at that, you can check out the wiki page. But this is one of those cases where, I have to say, I have to be on the side of teachers and professors. Take the wiki with a grain of salt, because the wiki is simply an amalgamation of internet rumors, basically. Yeah. But yeah, my opinion on Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome. There are some studies out there about this, and those studies are very small, and they weren't double-blind placebo. They were just studies of a small group of cannabis users, one in Australia, I believe, a nation known to perpetuate anti-cannabis legislation. They're looking for reasons to make pot illegal. They're like the UK, and they're fucking what is it? The high THC schizophrenia scare that was going on. But God, that text threw me off. But yeah, these studies, they weren't double-blind placebo. They were just these small studies of people who were chronic cannabis smokers and threw up. And apparently when they stopped smoking in these studies, the users found that the symptoms went away completely. So abstinence from the cannabis proved to cure it. You search for this online, and you just see Reddit, you see forums, you just see a slew of just people coming together and coalescing rumors. There'll be a guy who, brings up the topic, have you guys heard of Cannabis Hyperemesis Syndrome? And they'll break it down, and you'll just get, obviously you'll get the naysayers and the people who are stagnant, pot supporters. The people who will, die holding a cannabis leaf, even if one day it proves to kill them. But you get the other side of the coin. You get people who fall into the trap and they say, yeah, I mean, I've never heard of that syndrome before, but there was this one time in high school where I was smoking like every day and I just kept throwing up, bro. Yeah, that explains it. That explains it all. And it's like account after account, and it starts getting into that like ego, personal attack phase where, suddenly you don't necessarily believe their anecdotal evidence that's lacking, a lot of detail. And, they're like, bro, just because it happens to me, doesn't mean, bro. Like, they just attack you. They just, yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Still getting over my, I don't even know what it was, like a cold or a flu. I've got, like, phlegm in my throat. Excuse me. But basically these people, they give us this anecdotal evidence and then they get upset and they say, you can't be this staunch stoner supporter saying that, pot is this panacea and that it's harmless and, maybe it does have this one, syndrome about it. They hold staunchly, like, maybe, bro. It happened to me. And, it just, one of the posts I saw encapsulated it best, and my version doesn't do it justice, but it's like a case of, I come off like a fucking conspiracy theorist, and I'm like the farthest from it. But follow me on this. Someone gets sick smoking, feels better in a comfortable warm bath, and then quits smoking and is suddenly cured. Okay, like, someone who smokes cannabis regularly, frequently, suddenly, out of the blue, gets a mysterious disorder that causes them to puke, and the only cure is a warm, comfy place. And then, once they stop smoking, everything gets better. It just, it seems like an evolution of the paranoia and the psychedelic aspect of pot. You have this psychedelic substance. People tend to forget that cannabis is a psychoactive substance. THC is a psychoactive substance. It affects your mind. It alters your perception. It's not just, you smoke it and, your body feels good, bro. Your mind is getting altered. The way signals are getting sent to your brain is changing. This is an altered state. So when people get high, and especially on high amounts of THC, and they panic, or they get discomforted, they may tend to get nauseous. They may tend to fight reality. I see it all the time where people, they get like uncomfortable on pot, where it's like they suddenly are too hypersensitive and they start squirming and almost like trying to escape their body or escape like the feelings, and like this is a psychedelic substance, so for people to get a little sick, these people, I guess there were people vomiting to dehydration, but for people to feel a little stomach discomfort while they're high, I could see that. You know what else causes stomach discomfort? Anxiety. You know what causes anxiety? Your mind. Like, you don't eat something and, you get anxiety. Well, you could, but, usually it's your own fucking brain causing the actual anxiety. Mental signals, your thoughts, influencing physical effects. So for these people to isolate cannabis as the only reason for this, they're not looking at their diet, they're not looking at their sleep, they're not looking at, like it has to be the cannabis. Just because they smoke cannabis every day and in large amounts, it has to be a considerable factor in it. It's really fishy. It's really fishy because cannabis itself is an antiemetic. Cannabis, the properties of pot are anti-nausea, they give you hunger. There's a reason that people who are recovering from cancer or doing chemotherapy use pot. It's because it gets rid of their nausea. So to say that like constant and voluminous use of pot results in the opposite effect, it's kind of paradoxical. It's like saying if you drink too much water, you'll become dehydrated. It's like, no, I just become overhydrated. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting case, but what was my point here? I'm flowing down the ask here and following my trains of thought. Right. So we're dealing with a case of abdominal pain and vomiting when you have 90% of the U.S. with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It's a scapegoat for doctors to just say, oh, you've got stomach cramps? Well, you don't have any actual physical things that we can find or nothing in your charts, so we're just going to say it's IBS. That's what happens. Oh, my stomach hurts all the time. Well, you have IBS. Oh, I keep burping up all the time and I have a lot of acid. Oh, you don't have GERD, you don't have this, you don't have that. Oh, must be IBS. It's this just this label they apply to anything they can't label. And you've also got the U.S. Or anywhere really. A lot of people are allergic to gluten and wheat and peanut butter and nuts and all kinds of shit, and they don't even know it. It's not necessarily that you're deathly allergic to it. You could consume like the wheat and just feel really sick, and not necessarily know why. You might think like, oh, it was like a bad sandwich, or it must have been bad meat, and really it's you're allergic to the fucking wheat. So this blindness to our own diet, to our own condition, really makes me question whether or not the validity of this anecdotal evidence. How am I supposed to believe when you tell me that, oh, my stomach hurts all the time and this and that, but you're not telling me what you're eating, bro. You're not telling me like, well, I also happen to get really high, and when I get really high, I just eat 3 pizzas and fucking a tub of ice cream and this, and when I'm not high, I kind of eat like a normal person. Maybe that's a fucking factor, huh? Like, nobody mentions diet. Nobody mentions fucking their workout. What if you fucking just sit around and don't work out all this nasty food inside of you? That makes you feel like shit as well. That gives you stomach discomfort. Like, there's just a lot of factors that I feel aren't being looked at here. And there are factors that people bring up in the threads online as well, where they'll discuss like, I used to have this hyperemesis problem as well, and once I switched to organic bud that was flushed, X amount of days before harvest, I stopped seeing this kind of problem. It's all about those fucking growth hormones, bro. Like, you see a lot of that unfounded evidence, just personal experimentation that isn't really proper experimentation. Yeah, but there's just a lot of factors that aren't researched. We really can't say anything because cannabis isn't allowed to be researched in the U.S. It's Schedule 1, which means that it has no medical value and has no scientific merit, apparently. In order to study cannabis, you need to jump through incredible loopholes and acquire, like, the shittiest grown, like, cannabis from universities. Like, it's not, you just can't study it properly. It's really withheld. So until we see legalization, until we see a rescheduling of cannabis, we aren't really going to see a confirmation or denial on Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome. I really want to see more lab reports. I really want to see more larger study groups. I want to see double-blind placebos. I want to see people measuring doses. I want to see people using CBD bud and THC buds. I want to see the range. It's too dark, too mysterious, too up in the air right now. It seems like a bunch of bullshit. It seems like a rumor perpetuated by people to keep people from smoking a lot of pot. It's like that fear that they instill in the back of your mind so that it flowers when you're smoking a lot of weed and you're paranoid and you're like, yeah, man, maybe if I do smoke a lot of pot, I'm gonna get sick and I'm gonna throw up a lot, and then your stomach starts hurting, and then you start throwing up because you start thinking about it a lot and you're really fucking high, and it's like, bro, smoke weed, have a good time, and if you start vomiting uncontrollably and you're like smoking your joint, I don't know, maybe there's a problem. But that doesn't seem to happen a lot, honestly. I don't know. I'm looking at, Tommy Chong. I'm looking at Joe Rogan, Kevin Smith. I'm looking at fucking Urban Grower. Anybody who smokes constantly large amounts of weed, none of them are fucking turning green and puking. So I'll just keep smoking too. I'll assume I don't have that genetic little print that does this, or I'll assume it's fucking bullshit. Yeah. One more ask, because that one was a little long, sorry, a little ranty. But this was an interesting question. What's the best type of extraction for yield? And this was an interesting question, because it's hard to answer. When you're talking about extraction, it's really just about technique. When you get these low yields, it's just a matter of refining your technique and improving equipment and improving the quality of your buds. But different types of extractions do yield more or less. So dry sieve, which is essentially keef, has the highest yield. But then, the reason you have a high yield is because you get a lot of plant matter in with the trichomes. You could refine it with very fine microns, but you're also going to reduce your yield. Bubble hash is the second best. It has a pretty good yield, but again, it's just not as potent. Like keef. It's just, you don't get the high concentration of THC that you do with BHO or other concentrates. And speaking of BHO and CO2 is the next best. It's number 3. They have pretty decent yields. Not really. You'll run 28 grams and you'll get 5 if you're lucky, And that's if you're using proper the proper stuff. Yeah. But it pays off in potency. You have this small amount of product, but it fucking blows you away. So you really have to take that into consideration. And then the last is ISO. It's really volatile. It can have high yields if you're making ISO hash that's green and full of chlorophyll, and it's fucking really low potency and horribly tasting. Or you can make properly extracted quiso, quick wash ISO hash, which will have lower yields, but you'll have a high quality and pretty decent potency. Again, quiso, the yield's pretty low and it's not as high potency as BHO. I'm sure some people would argue with me, but they can go to hell. I'm kidding. So yeah, you got keef up top, bubble hash, then BHO, and CO2, and then ISO hash. Basically, if you want to improve your yield, you just need to get frosty buds, bro. Find a bud with just covered, caked in trichomes. That's why they call those hash buds. Hash plant. Literally, the strain hash plant is grown to have really resinous, thick, sticky buds. Short, yeah. So, yeah, and you can also increase your yield for various techniques like dry sieve. You use fucking dry ice, or bubble hash. There's like the ice wax method or whatever. BHO, you freeze the trim or the product. You don't use trim. Or you use trim if you want a high yield, but you use popcorn nugs specifically, packed as tightly as possible if you want a high yield. And of course ISO, you just let that shit soak as long as possible for a high yield. Yeah. But really, it's not about yield at the end of the day. Like, if it were about yield, everybody would just be making keef and bubble hash. But, you know, people like to dab. People like BHO. They appreciate the conservation of flavor that you get with BHO. That, you know, you don't damage the volatile terpenes and trichomes and flavonoids and all that produce the flavor and the high and create that intricacy, that medley, you know, in your mouth and in your mind. So it's not just about the yield, it's about the actual product. So keep that in mind. Alright, if you want to ask us a question, head over to WeedPornDaily.com/FAQ, and you can see over, I think, 1,000 questions that we've already answered, and you can ask us your own question there. Alright, let me get to our news, We got a lot of news on the Weed Porn Daily front. We got stickers, as I mentioned, at the head of the podcast. We've got WeedPornDaily.com stickers from printfirm.com. They're business card sized, and I've been thinking about giving them away. Like, someone mentioned, like, when are you going to sell them? And I was like, shit, I didn't even think about selling them. Excuse me, my first thought was to just give them away. And I've been looking for like giveaway methods and means and stuff like that. I was really excited. Like, the day I got the package, I cracked it open and I started tweeting, like, today there's gonna be a fucking giveaway. And I whipped out my notepad and I started planning it out. And my big plan was that I was going to sign up on stamps.com and use one of the coupon codes from one of the podcasts I listen to, and it would give me like a free subscription and as well as free stamps to use. And I was like, fuck yeah, man, I don't have to pay for stamps. I could just ship this stuff to you guys for free. It's like all just like I don't like shipping, man. Shipping's a pain in the ass. Paying for stamps, paying for fucking boxes, paying for envelopes, paying for everything. It gets expensive. It gets really expensive for a guy who has like no money. So I wanted to really utilize the stamps.com, and it turns out that my printer doesn't have ink, so I can't print any stamps. And they're fucking free scale. They apparently give you a free digital scale, which I was psyched about. I was like, what? I have I could hook up a little USB scale to my computer and weigh out bud, and transmit, see on my computer the amount of bud. Like, that seemed pretty cool. Like, I've never had a scale that hooked up to the computer. But that shit, you had to pay the shipping and handling on that, and that was like $10, and I was like, what? Fuck that. What happened to free? What happened to free in this world? There is no such thing as free titties. So the stamps.com thing fell out very quickly, and I quickly found that I could not give these away. I literally just can't get them to you guys. It just, yeah. So I'm working now to figure out a solution to that, or I'm considering just selling maybe a few, and using the profits to fuel a giveaway. But I don't know, I would just feel bad like selling a few and then giving the same ones I'm selling away. Or maybe not. I don't know. That is a weird mentality. What am I saying? I give away stuff I sell all the time. Yeah. So yeah, we've got stickers. You can see them by going to the WeedPornDaily tag, WPD, or literally WeedPornDaily, or the WeedPornDaily news tag, WPD space news. Yeah. So watch out. I'm thinking what I wanted to do was kind of the Coral-esque giveaways, where I focus on one social network at a time. So let's say I have like an image on Tumblr that I have you guys reblog for a set period of time, and then have like a tweet that you guys could tweet, or an Instagram image that you guys could re-Instagram, and etc., etc. And then those would all be entries to win the sticker. Or just do like a flash giveaway. Like I say, like a code word in the podcast, and the first person to send me the code word would be the winner. Things like that. So I'm waiting to do that with bated breath. I just fucking need money or stamps, yo, or ink. Ink's worth more than money. That shit, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, so besides the stickers, I've been working on the Cannabis Kickstarter. That's been consuming my time. We've decided to change it from just a travel guide about the Cannabis Cup to a travel guide about just cannabis conventions. And I want to have like a whole, mini section in the back dedicated to the Cannabis Cups, because, you really can't, you can't make a book about conventions and not mention the Cannabis Cup. It's kind of, I don't know, yeah. So, it'll be all about all the cannabis conventions. I'll make sure to, we'll have like a list of all the cannabis conventions you can go to. You'll have like HempFest, you'll have, all the medical cannabis cups all around the U.S. You'll have the official cannabis cups in Washington and Colorado and Amsterdam, and yeah, all the other smaller events. There are a lot of other smaller events in like Boston and Philadelphia and everywhere. So yeah, we'll have the book dedicated to that, and I've been working on kind of visualizing the cost for you guys. Like, I need to convey like why this is gonna cost like $20,000, and convey the cost so that it kind of motivates, more funding. Because if you guys think like, oh, it's just a cannabis cup, it's gonna be a couple $1,000s, a couple $100, whatever. Some people might not even look at the Kickstarter. But if you think it's, this big endeavor, which it really is, it might fuel some more interest. So I'm working on like little graphs and stuff of the cost, like measuring out like, oh, this is the hotel, this is the price of the ticket, this is the price of the food, etc., etc. And also working out visualizations of the prize packs as well, because that can get pretty fucking confusing. Like the little sidebar on Kickstarter really doesn't properly convey all the prize packs. And yeah, like what can I use? Like there's a recent Kickstarter for the Mega Man remake called Mighty Number 9, and in order to convey their prize packs, they used a kind of mathematical graph. Not really mathematical, but it, like, you could tell like a math head thought of that graph. And it just shows, like, up top, it's got the list of, man, I'm explaining like visual shit, I hate this. On the left, you've got all the stuff you can get. So you've got, a kiss from, me, the book, the book and the ebook, and, the t-shirt and this and that. And then up top, you have, the different packages that you can get. And then it colors in, what you're getting corresponding to the package. And it kind of visualizes it, like you're seeing like, oh, I get this pack, and I'm getting the book, the t-shirt, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, I'm getting all this stuff. And it ramps up, I think, more the excitement. I'm just trying to think of promotional material. It's fucking hard. Like, I tried to look up, like a book on making Kickstarters, or like, I don't know, just something. There's just some research that someone's done, like a Kickstarter formula, and I just couldn't find jack shit. So now I'm just resorting to my own, I was gonna say my own genius. How fucking cocky. My own blundering about and trying to discover the formula myself. So keep an eye out on the Cannabis Cup Kickstarter. The main goal right now is to just get enough imagery and promotional material to pull together a page, like a splash page, to get you guys psyched and count down to the Kickstarter. Because I keep talking about it, and there's no landing page for all this information. So I want to make that as soon as possible. So keep an eye out. The Cannabis Cup Kickstarter, man, like... shit, like, I wake up some days and I'm like, how am I even gonna do this? Like, it's such a huge thing. It's crazy. And then I remind myself that people like Coral were able to do it without Kickstarter, so without prizes. Shit, like Coral, I think she did it on like kisses and thank yous and like videos. Like, damn. So yeah, I'm hoping I can get this done. Hoping I don't get my PayPal blocked. I was looking at Coral Reefer's Twitter today, and I was reminded again that she is banned from all payment processing services online because she's associated with cannabis. So I'm thinking, like, man, like, wait till they fucking notice that all these transactions are happening under the name WeedPornDaily. Like, not only is it weed, but it's porn. It'll be interesting. So yeah, if you want to donate to WeedPornDaily through PayPal, head to weedporndaily.com/contribute, and you can donate $4.20 and get a shout out on the blog. It's funny, PayPal apparently told Coral that it was the frequency of $4.20 donations that raised their suspicion about her account. It makes me scared because for the past like 3 years, like, most of the donations that we've gotten on the website have been $4.20. Oof. Yeah. So yeah, that's I think that's it for site stuff. I've been working, I guess. I whipped out the 3 new designs for the shop. The I Can't Believe It's Not Legal, the cannabis print, and the other kind of print. Yeah. I whipped those out fast. I did each one in a day. Like, I had the concept in my mind brewing for a little while, but the execution just took like a couple hours for each one. Well, not a couple hours, it took like 6 to 8, but like a day, like not that much. Whereas like an art piece will take me like a week of execution, and just like hundreds of hours of work. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm trailing off. I'm like trying to think of shit that I've done. I'm not sure. Let me check. If you guys want to follow along, check the WPD news tag. WPD space news. Oh yeah, the Weed Porn Daily podcast is now available on Stitcher. I submitted us to Stitcher because we weren't in their database, and now you can find us there. So if you use the app, I know I use it. A lot of people use it to listen to podcasts in the car easily, things like that. You can find us on there now. Recently we had to pay the fucking server bill. We almost didn't pay the fucking server bill, and this website was almost shut down. It came to the day of payment, and I got an email from the company saying like, hey, we ran your credit card and it's not working. Because I gave him like a faulty credit card. And, well, not a faulty one, but an old one. And, yeah, I luckily last minute we got a shitload of donations, and the website was able to stay online. We had like $53 in the WeedPornDaily coffers, and we needed another like 50 to be able to pay the payment. So people came through. There was like one last donator who donated like $20. Ryan, too kind, bro, too kind. And people even bought the Badass book in an attempt to fund it, which I really appreciated. There were, I think, 2 purchases of the Badass book, which helped fuel the cost. And that's it. Yep, the 3 new designs, the weapon of choice. I don't know if I mentioned that on a previous podcast. That's a newish design, like a bunch of pieces silhouetted. Looks pretty cool. Shop.WeedPornDaily.com. Yep, I think that's it. Pretty good filled podcast. I think I rambled enough about that one question. Hyperemesis. It was just everywhere. But yeah, I hope I raised awareness. Awareness to the bullshit. Really. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for donating. It's amazing. Like, it amazes me that the site is able to keep itself online, and that, you know, the fans are committed enough to where they actually, you know, put their wallet where their mouth is. That I really appreciate. I ran the numbers the other day. I had to do the accounting, and we've gotten exactly 50 donations since 2011. It's awesome. Fucking awesome. I love it. Like 50 more than I ever expected. So thank you guys again for listening. Thank you guys for contributing, submitting, liking, reblogging, everything that you do on Weed Porn Daily. I love. Even if you just sit at the website and just get stoned and like lost and just don't even scroll. Like, just the fact that you're on my site and stoned, I appreciate it, bro. Like, if you just whip up the site and you like smoke like in front of it, even better. Like, you're enriching the site with your smoking experience. I really appreciate that, with the spirit of your smoke. Thank you all. Again, shop.WeedPornDaily.com. If you want to support the site, support me, feed me, because life's tough right now, let me tell you. I've been having a hard time working on the site because I've just been so stressed about life. Like, there have been nights where I just don't sleep because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know. So please, if you can, shop.WeedPornDaily.com. And thank you to Print Firm again. And yeah, I love you guys. Stay regular. Super stoners. 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 Regular. Super stoners.